Saquarema City, 19 August 2022, Friday, Saquarema City, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. You will maybe hear noises because it's a storm and cloud day. It's not a poltergeist, but will be very noisy this presentation. We'll have a conversation today, quite simple, quite clear. We will report that what we are doing Friday and 2 days before. On Wednesday, we start a new period exposing the judicial criminality that not goes only in Brazil, but in all areas that has a judicial power. It implies all states. On pandemic events, we silence, with course that we have an international risk, like concurrent failure, which points to silence. It's about international corruption on institutional level. It was presented equally the analysis about inflation, inflationary causes and process and patterns, with cut and regression supporting the antitrust justice by failure at all combined, using this to take advantage of have a trust scam, especially failure in budget. And for instance, doing the investigation of my anti-crime research and all my professional life and activity, even beyond the limits of the law and the Constitution, violating basic rights and guarantees, affecting not only me, my social and family circles, but interest at this research that goes very according with the Article 1, clause number 4 of the Brazilian Constitution, observing the Article 4, clause number 9 as cooperation between nations to the progress of mankind. And this allows to put you or mention your behavior at the International Criminal Court and all offices at the United Nations. The Article 5 saying that Brazilians and foreigners are equal in conditions presented by this Constitution as guarantees and in many cases as basic rights. The Article 5 allows us to have reply and responsiveness as a strike back plus the compensation, considering the limits of aggressions you do. The clause number 9 on Article 5, it's the freedom of thoughts, which goes in an independent way with total autonomy. You can't block or forbid this, especially when it's not a criminal activity, that in general you can't use as an excuse to do not be sent to jail. The apology of crimes goes by all crimes, including the abuse of authorities, by the systematic will and intentional elements that point to your psychological behavior. The clause 13, it's saying that it's freedom, the work you do, the professional work you do. And on clause 12, it's saying that you can violate the secrecy of communication, and you only have in a criminal investigation the interference at phone calls by the signature of a judge has a prosecutor oversighting a policial investigation. If you do the investigation of my anti-crime research by a police department, which can be a national local police, a federal police, you always have the prosecution as institutional oversight in this. On Article 129, it's the duty of the prosecutors take care of the law. And in the same way, you all failed on this on Article 74 and 23 Item 1. It's all about your fault. And on clause 11 on Article 5, it's saying that the house, the place you live, can't be violated. It means that can't be violated. You can't put something buggy at the wall to collect information. You can't violate in any case. There are no possibility. In the same way, the communication, it's literally written. You only can have the entrance during the day by a judicial order, which implies the signature of a judge. And these two clauses, as 11 and 12, it is imposing and protecting the citizens, the company, foreigners and Brazilians, putting limits on an investigation. If you put a clandestine instrument to collect my voice, collect my data and have signatures, violating my personality and all things, you violated not only the place I live, or the place when I develop and do the creation and have my thoughts. You violated the Constitution. You should be fired, but you shouldn't got fired until this time. And all elements that we unfortunately have to prove, and indeed was proved on clause 41. It's saying that the law will do the punishment against the discrimination that hurt and goes against the rights and essential freedoms of citizens, because it's a premise for mankind and progress of mankind and humanity. Acting by international jurisdiction using the local law, Brazil, we, of course, that will use other judicial power to replace your lack of capacity, will, and cognitive level about your own constitution and legal premises, considering the basic rights on communication law. Law 9472, Article 3 and 12, which says that I can suffer a discrimination as a user of this communication service that must be properly presented and offered by the provider, allowing me to have and request my compensation confirmed by Article 5, clause number 5 of the Brazilian Constitution. And in the same way, when you violate my basic rights and guarantees, putting your quality as aggression in a diffuse area, you respect nothing, nobody, and no one. Even as a citizen, an individual, a company or global company, other national state or constitutional premise of other state, which implies that you are against the constitutionalism and, as we prove by logic, against the progress and development of mankind. By this, using the state power and lawfare as judicial criminality, supported by policial corruption and prosecution, involved with crimes equally even by silence, you must be at the International Criminal Court to have the trial about your behavior as state criminality. We were reporting yesterday the antitrust justice that goes by lawfare, the special concern with the misuse of state power and institutional prerogative by chairs, always having the signature to support criminal purpose, change the perception of facts and circumstances, economic indices, and affect the structures and balance of the market. the pattern of business and operation, having the continuity of friendly negative one as corruption to support your intention in many moments, confirmed by the investigation of Federal Bureau of Investigation America that is oriented to take advantage in all cases by all ways, considering even do not do the payment of this compensation and do not present yourself by the cowardice that hold your life on American embassy, that you must apply the legal consequence and consider the international application of the Brazilian law to support all those cases, including the harassment case, and all paper rolling as 37 trillion plus 5 billions, considering the financial penalty. Yesterday, on Thursday, August 18, we presented a report which was an experience that I was forced to have the knowledge during my military school, I would say, and was about drug. At that time, the monkey was in an experience with heroin, and the monkey got dead by an OD using heroin. We must have, on present time, especially considering the Lombroso theory, that we will observe the behaviorism as criminality in all levels, spread in the way we have on present time, and suggested to compare the intellectual mind and cognitive reason, that sometimes you can observe that some areas in China have almost none, between monkeys and humans, based on heroin use and dependence, to understand if they will behave themselves equal. And we will kind of observe how the self-determination of a monkey and the institutional chair on dependence as heroin will conduct itself. The preview events, I think that was on the 80s, the monkey got an OD. The idea is quite simple. And having the difference as mankind and beasts. Any question, criminal offender? You must be on American embassy, form groups, take and pick a leader, present yourselves there. You do not have the courage to be there in the same way you didn't have the guts to dismiss the criminals inside your institutions. And the experience is a fact. Are you concerned with the heroin use or the monkey, behavior? Are you below the monkey? Lower cognitive level than a monkey? See? Simple to get, isn't it? And this will probably help the Nobel Prize on Medicine, maybe another one. See? This is the American greed, not the greed, but the greed. 37 trillion plus 5 billions plus 3 Nobel Prizes. And we are with the astrophysical mind considering top heads, USA. Any question? Half European, Saquarema City. Have a great weekend.